In this video, I'm going to go over the different tangent types that you can apply to your keys, and I'll explain what those different tangent types will do to your curves. So I'm going to select the controller for the ball that I made, and you can see I've already added some animation to the Translate Y channel. And when you select the key, then you get a tangent on either side of it. On the left side, you have the in tangent because it's the tangent where the curve is coming into a key, and you can select that and adjust it. And on the other side is the out tangent that's coming out of the key, and you can adjust that one, move it around. And when you move the tangent handles, it adjusts the flow of the curve. And you can adjust the rotation of the tangent handles to adjust how the curve is easing in and out from one key to the next. So you can do that. If you rotate it too far, then the curve starts to do stuff like this, gets out of control. It overshoots, so the highest value in the curve is above, or in this case below, the value of the key, which can make things messy. But by default, my tangent type is auto. And this is a new tangent type for Maya 2012, and I love it because it automatically adjusts the tangent handle rotation so the curve flows smoothly from one key to the next. So if I have this one selected, I'm going to press auto, and now it automatically adjusted the tangent handle rotation so the curve flows smoothly from one to the next. And now if I adjust the value of the key, you can see that the tangent handles automatically rotate when it gets near the value of the next key so it doesn't overshoot. And that's the advantage of auto tangent. I love it. That's what I use most of the time. And you can also apply tangent type to multiple keys at a time. If you select the whole curve, then they all get that tangent type, and if nothing is selected, then the tangent type that you choose will be applied to all the curves that are visible here. So I'll click on that, and there it goes. And the next tangent type in line is spline tangents, and when I click on that one, you'll see I get a really nice flow between my keys, but the trouble with it is that the curve can overshoot the keys. So right now these two keys are right around a value of 4, but you can see in the middle between them the curve has overshot the value of the keys. So that's what a spline tangent can do for you. You get a really nice flow, but you lose control of the peaks and valleys of where your curve is. So, and you can then adjust it manually if you want to, but to me that's a hassle. I feel like it gets messy. I lose control of my curves and my animation. So that's why I prefer the auto tangent. And the next tangent type in line is clamped tangents. And it's very similar to spline. So I'm going to click on spline, and you see I get that curve back. Now if I click on clamped, nothing's happening. I still get the overshoot. But with clamped, when I actually get this key value to match the adjacent key's value, then it levels off and it no longer overshoots. So that's what clamp does. And here if I go back to spline, then I get the overshoot. Clamped, I lose the overshoot. And the next tangent type in line is linear tangents. So if I apply that one, you'll see that my curve becomes linear between the keys, and I lose all ease in and out, but there's also no overshoot, which is nice. And it's moving at a consistent speed between the keys, so it's moving down at a consistent speed. It's not easing in or out, and then it hits this value, and then it turns a hard corner, and now it's going back up at a consistent speed. So that's linear. Oh, and linear tangents run parallel to the now straightened curve. So this is the tangent handle, and it's running parallel to the curve, and this tangent handle is running parallel to this curve. And you can rotate it around to get some bend in the curve, but the relationship between these two tangents is going to stay the same because they're locked together. And in a minute, I'll show you how to break them apart and move them independently, but that's it for now. That's linear. Flat tangents is the next one, and when I click on flat tangents, all the tangents go perfectly flat. And that's fine at the peak of a curve like that, doesn't cause any problems, but in the middle of a slope, when the tangent's flat, then you get this weird hitch in the curve, which is usually no good. You can adjust it if you want to, but by default it makes it flat and it gets kind of funky. The next tangent type is step tangents. And this keeps the value of the curve the same as the value of the key before it. And then when you reach the next key, it jumps up to the next value. So between keys, you can see nothing's happening to the ball and the curve is perfectly flat. But when I get to the next key, then it jumps to that value. And this is good if you're blocking your character and you just want to set up the key poses and you don't want it to be like morphing in between poses with these weird transitions that you're not ready for. If you're just trying to set up nice solid poses, you can set up a nice solid pose on a frame here and then a frame here, and it won't look funky in between. It'll just, when you play it through, you'll have a solid pose, it'll stay in a solid pose until it snaps to the next solid pose. Something like that. So that's what step can do for you. And the last tangent type is plateau tangents, and that's very similar to clamped. The difference is when the value of a key approaches the value of the next key, instead of overshooting, the tangent is going to flatten out so the curve doesn't overshoot. But then you get that weird little warble, same as if the tangent is flat. So those are all the tangent types, and these are the buttons to apply them. And the in tangents and out tangents don't have to be the same, so if you select one of them, you can apply a different tangent type to it. So I'll make this one linear, and you see this is linear, this one's still plateau, and you get all those same options in the tangents menu. You can choose the tangent type, and you can also set the in and out tangents. And if you want to set the default tangent types, go to Window, Settings, Preferences, then Animation, and here in the tangent section you can choose your default in tangents and out tangents. Mine are both set to auto, and you can also choose weighted tangents and have that on or off, and I'll go over weighted tangents in a minute. But first I'm going to show you how to break tangents, and by default the in and out tangents are unified, so if I move one of them, it moves the other one along with it. If I want to move them independently, I can click on the break tangents button, and when I do that, it changes the color. The in tangent's blue, the out tangent's pink, and at that point I can move one of them without it affecting the other one. And if I want to unify them again, I can just click on this, on Unify Tangents, and then that unifies it, so they're both pink again. If I move one of the handles, then the other one moves with it, and that's breaking and unifying tangents. And now I'll flatten it off again. And now I'm going to go over weighted tangents. So I'll select the curve and then go to the curves menu, and down at the bottom of that I'm going to click on weighted tangents. Right now I'm in non-weighted tangents, so I'll click on weighted, and you can see the length of the tangents changed a bit, and also the knobs on the end of the tangents got bigger. And right now these weighted tangents behave about the same as non-weighted tangents. I can select them and rotate them around. The difference really comes in when I click on this, on free tangent weight. So if I click on that, then the tangent, the knobs on the end of the tangents become hollow, and then I can still rotate it around like always, but I can also change the length of the tangent handle, and as I do that, that affects the slope of the curve. And if I want to adjust the length of the handle without being able to rotate it, then I can just hold down Shift and middle mouse click and hold. Then I can drag side to side, and it's changing the length of the handle, but I can't rotate it. And if I flatten it and then break it, you can see I'll grab one and I'm holding Shift. I can pull it out to the side and it's staying straight, or then I can angle it how I want, and then if I hold Shift and go side to side, then it stays straight at that angle. And to lock the tangents again, just click this button, Lock Tangent Weight, and when you do that, the knobs get filled in again, and you can no longer change the length of the handle, but you can still rotate it all you want. And that is actually everything I wanted to show you about tangents. So this video is done.